Welcome to American Girl Doll Horror Stories, where every Sunday, we will share a spooky story that will send shivers down your thorny spine. I am Gloomy Sunday and I am your new narrator. And of course, my naughty and lazy cat, Soot. Today we have a very special story that is guaranteed to make your heart. Now who could that be? Soot, will you see who is at the door? Hi? May I know who you are?
Hello, I am your new neighbor, Georgina. I moved next door. I just want to drop by and say hi to my new neighbor.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for stopping by. I am actually...
By the way, I want to invite you to watch my newest segment called American Girl Doll Tidbits. I will be talking about American Girl Doll news, trivia, and basically everything American Girl. It will be fun! Fun!
Alright, sure.
Okay, that's it. I still have tons to do in my house. Lots of things to unpack and I still need to decorate my room. Which do you think is the best color to paint my walls?
Pink.
Oh my gosh, are you a mind reader? How did you know my favorite color is pink?
I don't know. Maybe because you are dressed head to toe in pink?
Haha, I love pink anyway. I really have to go now. Nice chatting with you. Oh, sorry. What is your name again?
I never told you my name. It is Gloomy Sunday.
Gloomy, a cute name. Well, see you later, Gloomy.
Yeah, see you later. I thought she will never leave. I guess things will get interesting around her. Anyway, enough of this. Let me call my book of shadows so we can begin our spooky story of the night. By what creeps, what crawls, by what does not. Book of shadows, dilly-dally not. I Want to Be a Vampire is a scary story about a weird and unpopular teenage boy who is obsessed with death, darkness, blood and the devil. Parts of it were inspired by a true story. There was a teenage boy named Lorcan who said he wanted to be a vampire. Everyone thought he was just looking for attention. He didn't have any friends. All of the kids in school were afraid of him. He was odd looking and his head seemed too large for his body. He was unnaturally thin and his eyes were sunken and had dark circles around them. His cheeks were hollow and his skin was a deathly shade of pale. He dressed in black from head to toe. He wore a long black trench coat that resembled a cape. When the other kids were playing sports, Lorcan would be sitting in the corner of the schoolyard, engrossed in one of his books. He collected books about vampires, devil worship and satanic rituals. He read each one over and over, feverishly underlining passages and taking notes. There were always strange rumors about him floating around the neighborhood. Some younger children claimed they had seen him murder a dog and drink its blood. Others said he would kidnap cats in the neighborhood and bring them home so that he could perform weird experiments on them. His parents were worried sick about him. His odd behavior unnerved them and they didn't know what to do with him. They brought him to doctors and psychiatrists, but none of it did any good. One night, his mother found some of his books. When she realized they were about Satanism, she was horrified and threw them in the garbage. Lorcan didn't complain or protest, but when his parents went to bed, he crept downstairs and went outside to retrieve his beloved books from the trash. The next day, he made a big hole in the ceiling of his wardrobe. It was his secret passage and it allowed him to crawl up into the attic unnoticed. He kept all his books there, safe from prying eyes. The attic became his secret place. He even constructed a makeshift altar and decorated it with satanic symbols, upside-down crosses and crude drawings of the devil. One night, he broke into the local church and stole a silver chalice and some communion wafers. He brought them home and placed them on his altar. During the day, Lorcan was sleepy and lethargic, but at night, he would come alive. While his mother and father were asleep, he would creep around the house barefoot, trying not to make the slightest sound. Sometimes he would creep soundlessly into their bedroom and stand over them, watching their peaceful slumber. One day, the teacher gave everyone in the class an assignment. They had to write an essay entitled "When I Grow Up." The teacher asked if anyone wanted to read their essay out loud to the class, and Lorcan raised his hand. He stood in front of the blackboard holding a crumpled piece of paper and cleared his throat.
"When I grow up,"
he began,
"I want to be a vampire."
The other kids rolled their eyes and giggled. Lorcan was so excited, the paper was shaking in his hands.
"I want to sleep in a coffin,"
he continued.
"I want to surround myself with death. I want to dedicate myself to evil and get revenge on all my enemies. I will surrender my soul to Satan and accept him as my Lord and Savior."
"That's enough, Lorcan," the teacher interrupted. Lorcan ignored her and his voice grew louder. None of his classmates were giggling now.
"I want to drink the blood of little boys and girls and feel it coursing through my veins. I want to sink my teeth into the soft flesh of my victims and feel their hot blood trickling down my throat."
"Stop it, Lorcan," the teacher cried. "Sit down."
"I want to rip them open, pull out their insides and feast on their entrails. I want to destroy every living thing. I want to burn the world. I want to kill everyone who made fun of me."
The teacher lunged at him, snatching the paper out of his hands. Lorcan clawed at her and screamed like a mad thing. As she grabbed him by the neck and marched him off to the principal's office, he was yelling,
"I want to be a vampire. I want to kill you all. I want to kill you all."
Lorcan was suspended from school and his parents had to meet with the teacher and the school principal. After that, everyone watched him like a hawk. Neighbors would pull their children off the street if they saw him coming. Rumors spread quickly about him and nobody wanted anything to do with him. One day, a little boy who lived in the neighborhood went missing. His parents searched for him, but there was no sign of him anywhere. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. The police were called and they knocked on every door in the area, asking questions. One officer questioned Lorcan and noticed he was acting very nervous. The policeman had a bad feeling about the teenager and he insisted on speaking to his mother and father. Lorcan's parents let the policeman in and agreed to let him search the house. Lorcan grew even more nervous. The police officer searched Lorcan's room, but didn't find anything suspicious. Then, he opened the wardrobe and noticed a hole in the ceiling. When he poked his head up through the hole and peered into the attic, his eyes were greeted by a horrifying sight. Later, he would say it was the single most disturbing thing he had ever seen in his life. The dead body of the missing boy was hanging from the roof. His arms and legs were tied to the rafters of the attic in the shape of a crucifix. Beneath him was a satanic altar, surrounded by books on devil worship. On the altar was a silver chalice, filled with blood. The policeman scrambled downstairs and raised the alarm. He shouted for his colleagues and when he told them what he had seen, they began a desperate search for Lorcan, but the teenager was nowhere to be found. His parents had no idea where he was. Policemen on the street swore they hadn't seen anyone leave the house. Nobody could find any trace of the teenage boy. The police were baffled. They were sure there was no way the boy could have escaped without being noticed. It was a complete mystery. Later on, one of the officers did recall witnessing something strange. He said that just after all the commotion had started, he thought he saw something fly out of one of the upstairs windows. It flapped its wings and disappeared into the night. He thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, but he could have sworn it was a large, black bat. This story was actually inspired by a real-life murder that happened in Ireland in 1973. A young boy named John Horgan went missing. When the police investigated, they began to suspect the teenage boy who lived next door. They searched his house and in his attic, they discovered the dead body of the young boy. He had been tied to the rafters of the attic in a crucifixion pose. Underneath him, there was an altar, a silver chalice and some satanic books. Of course, in real life, the teenage boy didn't turn into a vampire bat and escape. He was arrested and sent to jail for his terrible crime. I am all for individuality and being yourself, but when you are at the point that you are already harming yourself and others, that is already crossing the line. It is sad that Lorcan was unable to control his dark urges which lead him to hurt an innocent child. It was a very unfortunate event and we all wish things turned out better for all. That is all for tonight's spooky story. Please come back next Sunday as we share another scary story from the dark side of the world. Again, this is Gloomy Sunday and that is Naughty Cat, Soot. Blessed be.